Glad to have you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Esther Vese. Senate President Bukola Saraki is demanding a full investigation into Tuesday's siege on the National Assembly complex by Department of State Services. Saraki made the demand at a press conference at the National Assembly complex on Wednesday. He accused security agencies of abusing power and dismissed suggestions that he was behind the siege. He asked the ruling All Progressives Congress not to play with the intelligence of Nigerians. The former Kwara State governor also said he will only resign as Senate president if 2/3 of the senators passed a vote of no confidence in him. Saraki also thanks the acting president Yemi Osinbajo for his handling of the matter, especially the dismissal of the DSS Director General Lawal Daura. Meanwhile, presidential spokesman Femi Adesina has confirmed President Muhammadu Buhari approved the sack of former DSS chief Lawal Daura. Daura was sacked on Tuesday after the DSS siege on the National Assembly. He has now been replaced by the most senior director, Matthew Seifa. Adesina, who was speaking with State House correspondents at the end of Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting, said there was no way such decision would have been taken without President Muhammadu Buhari's input. He noted that there was no tussle for power between President Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
What we like to say for the upteenth time is that the presidency is one. Whenever the president is proceeding on vacation, he transmits power to the vice president, who then becomes the acting president. On this occasion, he also did that. So the acting president has all the powers of a president. Now, it's a matter then of decency. And we know that the acting president is a decent man. There is no tussle for power. There is no tough battle between him and the president. When something like what happened yesterday will happen, there will be unanimity. There's no way there won't be unanimity on that kind of decision. It's not something that will be discussed with the press, but know that there was unanimity in that decision.
Moving on, former Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio has formally defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) at a mega rally held at the Ikot-Ekpene Township Stadium on Wednesday. No fewer than 30 APC senators and members of National Working Committee were on hand to receive the ex-Senate Minority Leader Akpabio. The Senate Majority Leader Senator Ahmed Lawan, who introduced his colleagues, described Akpabio as a nationalist and patriot who believes in Nigeria's unity. Aside Akpabio, the PDP also lost its deputy chairman in Akwa Ibom, Obong Paul Ekpo, who officially resigned from the party on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the senior special advisor to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, has said some members of the Senate who defected from the ruling All Progressives Congress only did so to protect their personal interest. While speaking during a press conference in Lagos, Enang said some of the members who defected were willing to contest in the 2019 general election. He added that they lost the chances to contest after President Buhari declared his intention to run for the presidential election.
It is necessary for politicians to seek appropriate political platforms on which to contest election. And when there is too much of a competition on a particular platform, and a politician who is interested in contesting election feels that with the level of competition or the competitiveness of the ticket and the seat, or the configuration of the senatorial district or gubernatorial seat, or what he wants to contest for, either the presidency or such other thing, that it is not possible on that platform, that politician may seek another platform. I'm sure if you examine the cases of each of the senators, you may know that each of them studying the configuration of APC and the contestations for the ticket in the party and the opinion of the people of the senatorial district, they may not be able to get the ticket of the All Progressives Congress.
A High Court sitting in Osun has dismissed a suit challenging the eligibility of Ademola Adeleke as candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the September 22nd governorship election in the state. Senator Adeleke won the PDP ticket, but two members of the party, that's Rashid Olabayo and Oluwaseun Ido, has asked the court to revoke his candidacy on the grounds that he lied about one of his certificates. They urged the court to restrain PDP from presenting him to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as a candidate of the party. But in his ruling, the presiding judge David Oladimeji said the claim of the plaintiffs was not strong enough to disqualify Adeleke from contesting the election. Ahead of the 2019 election, the Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, Lai Mohammed, has again warned media organizations against aiding the spread of fake news. Mohammed repeated the warning at a conference against fake news which held in Abuja. He insisted that media organizations must be careful in giving out information, especially ahead of the 2019 elections.
There are many potential threats to democracy in countries across the world. In Nigeria, the federal government has repeatedly warned of the dangers fake news pose to the country's existence. At this conference in Abuja, the Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, Lai Mohammed, again reiterates the dangers of the phenomenon, especially to the media.
Fake news is not just a threat to peace and security, but even a threat to the media itself. Because one of the immediate victims of fake news is the media. Once it is known that a particular outlet is no longer credible, then it will lose followership. Unfortunately, fake news in this country today, and globally, like I've tried to explain, is so that unless there's concerted effort from each and every one of us, it threatens to pitch one group against the other, one religion against the other.
After the minister's address, the chairman of Nigeria's media regulatory body, Mujataba Sada, took to the podium. He assured that the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission will continue to ensure fake news does not become a scourge in the media.
Unfortunately for us, the broadcast regulator, the government, the head of the information industry, made it abundantly clear, even now, that we are not going to gag the press. In fact, the initial position was we will not shut any broadcast station. But fortunately, the law empowers us to do that in a situation where we see danger glaringly facing the community. It's not for our own personal interest, but for the betterment or for the protection of innocent lives and properties in the country. No matter, the policy might be different, but we cannot sit down and allow lives to be endangered by our licensees.
Other speakers at the event then highlight how social media can help to spread and curtail fake news.
Facebook, with 25 million Nigerians commenting every second, is the largest newsroom in the country. And when such huge newsroom is manipulated, is used to articulate falsehood, is used to deepen the divisions that exist in our society and make them worse. Then with the 2019 elections coming, we do have a serious crisis before us, and it is in this context that we feel it is very important to understand the tactics and strategies used to divide this country through fake news.
The challenge is, how do we really balance a real challenge that we have of people who are intent in creating chaos and problems in society, but at the same time, how do we balance it up with the civil liberties of our own citizens? This is not going to be an easy conversation, but we must have to do something about it. One of the good things about social media is that as you are pushing the lies, other people will be able to also counteract it with correcting the information itself.
I understand that Google is spending $300 million over the next 3 years to fight fake news. YouTube is committing $25 million in grants on same issue, while Facebook had to hire over 10,000 employees this year to fight fake news. They wouldn't be doing this much if it wasn't such a threatening issue. This conference is apt and timely as Nigeria prepares towards the 2019 general elections. Disinformation, whether before, during, or after elections, is dangerous to any democracy. And 2019 is no less a crucial year for Nigeria's democracy, but the journey to that begins here. Fake news is capable of negatively influencing public's opinions on candidates during elections. It could affect voter turnout and encourage do-or-die attitudes among politicians.
Fake news has been generally described as a type of propaganda that consists of deliberate misinformation. And with the 2019 general elections fast approaching, it is important that the menace is curbed in Nigeria.
A non-governmental organization against vote buying has been launched in Nigeria's southwestern city of Lagos. The National Coalition Against Vote Buying and Other Electoral Corruption is an offshoot of a newly registered political party, the African Democratic Congress, ADC. At the launch, the national chairman of ADC, Ralph Oke-Unwosu, demanded that the alleged vote buying which marred the 2018 Ekiti governorship election must be put to a halt.
At this moment, politicians are scampering and they don't mind keeping the people poor so that the 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 they will give them for purpose of their vote will make them to vote their way. And when they finish, we now have almost the kind of monumental corruption that we have in the system, which doesn't bother them. So long as they have their homes in Abuja, Dubai, New York, and so on, it doesn't bother them. Unfortunately, the politicians we have don't appear to me as patriotic, which is wrong, an anomaly. However, ADC wants to redirect all of this by this, the civil organization that we are founding, the coalition that's C4E Integrity, Coalition for Electoral Integrity, and is going to function like the International Republican Institute, National Democratic Institute of the U.S.
Still on electoral matters, members of the Mumu Dondu movement has marched to the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja. They are demanding an extension to the deadline given for permanent voters' card registration. The Electoral Commission had announced August 18 as a date to end the exercise, but the group insists the time frame is not enough. They are asking that the registration be extended till December 14.
It is our well-considered view that INEC has had enough time to perfect the processes of registration and other activities to run concurrently with the preparations for elections. Best practices also demand that INEC is decentralized to handle core and big operations simultaneously and seamlessly. By putting in place such special structures within the Commission to strictly handle the registration of voters, it is therefore our demand that the exercise is extended to December 14, 2018, in accordance with the 60 days before the first election as guaranteed by the Electoral Act 2010, so that justice would be seen to have been done to everyone, at least within the ambit of the law.
In his response, INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu explained how the body reached the August 18 deadline and defended the body's decision to close the registration early.
When we arrived at that conclusion, we threw it open to citizens. We have regular consultative meetings with all political parties in Nigeria. We submitted this proposal to them. The political parties advised that we should suspend the registration in the middle of August. And among these political parties were the chairman and secretary of the YPP. Then we had the regular consultative meeting with civil society organizations. This was also presented to civil society. The civil society saw the extensive activities that we need to undertake and the detailed time frame, and therefore agreed with the commission that we should suspend in the middle of August. We had another round of consultation with media in Nigeria, and they advised also that given the activities that we have to undertake, we should consider suspending by the middle of August. Then we had a meeting with the security agencies under the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. There also we agreed that the registration should be suspended in the middle of August. We have been registering citizens for the last 16 months continuously. This is the very first time in the history of our elections that the election management body is registering citizens continuously as envisaged in the Electoral Act.
In another development, Major General Musa Yusuf has taken over as the new General Officer Commanding of the Nigerian Army 81 Division. Musa Yusuf will take over from Major General Enabong Udo in the Army Division in Lagos. He was handed over the reins of the command at a brief ceremony in Victoria Island in Lagos. In his address, Major General Udo praised his successor and called on remaining troops to offer support.
I have a lot to say about General Yusuf, but in order not to belabor issues, just the way I said it in Port Harcourt, I think I will just cap it up by saying that we are very close in the way and manner we work. He's a workaholic like myself. I mean, I don't need to praise myself that I'm a workaholic. I just know that I like to work. Maybe I can put it that way. And this gentleman here likes to work also. So I want to urge all of you, I want to implore you to sit up and be ready to work just the way you are ready to work with me.
Here I am today in 81 Division, not because I am the best or better than any other person. First and foremost, destiny, and the second one, the Chief of Army Staff, has confidence that by the special grace of the Almighty, I will key into his vision of having a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of our constitutional role. I know, with the briefing I have received from the outgoing GOC, I'm not going to find things very, very rough. To the officers, I will want you to extend the same level of cooperation you extended to the outgoing GOCs to me, so that if we cannot improve on the standard he has set, at least we must maintain the standard he has set.
Are you still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria? Up next is Business News. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
It's about the files your secretary presented to me regarding the company salary. Yes, the figures don't seem to add up. I suspect there's some form of a
discrepancy.
Precisely, sir.
Keep the figures that way. That's fraudulent, sir. That's my money.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't do that, sir.
See how padded your cheeks are. Are you telling me you cannot pad up figures?
Sir, padding is against best auditing practices, and it's a form of corruption.
It's true. Accountant.
You were testing. Thank you, sir.
That's it. Bagole,
Yes, sir.
you are fired.
Uh,
Yeah.
Fine, sir. Rather than watch corruption grow under my watch. Padding is a form of corruption and not in my country, sir.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Hello and welcome. Focusing on business now, Nigeria has approved a $150 million loan from the World Bank to help eradicate polio and scale up immunization. This was disclosed by Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun on Wednesday. She said the World Bank loan will help the government achieve and sustain at least 80% oral polio vaccine coverage in every state in Nigeria and improve immunization as part of a global polio eradication effort.
The second application that was approved was a World Bank facility for $150 million for polio eradication. It's what is called Phase 3 of the polio eradication project. Nigeria is en route to becoming polio-free, and we've been receiving significant support from the donor community towards this. However, there are 12 states that are seen as slightly behind in terms of our polio aspirations, and these are Adamawa, Bayelsa, Gombe, Jigawa, Katsina, Kebbi, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Taraba, and Zamfara. And so this $150 million facility from the World Bank, which has an interest rate of 1.25%, a moratorium of 5 years and a repayment period of 30 years, was approved to enable us to buy polio vaccine, improve the cold storage of vaccines in Kano and in Lagos, and to roll out polio vaccination coverage.
In the oil market, prices dipped on Wednesday after China reported relatively weak import data, although the market remained well supported by falling U.S. crude inventories and the introduction of sanctions against Iran. Brent crude oil futures were at $74.50 per barrel, while U.S. crude futures were at $69.15 per barrel. Markets were still supported by the introduction of new U.S. sanctions against Iran on Tuesday, which initially targets Iran's purchases of U.S. dollars in which oil is traded, metals trading, coal, industrial software, and its auto sector. Beyond the sanctions, the oil market was focusing on the U.S. market, where the American Petroleum Institute said on Tuesday that crude inventories fell by 6 million barrels in the week to August 3rd to $407.2 million. For the third consecutive time this week, the Nigerian stock market closed in a negative territory. Wednesday's trading session recorded a 0.09% decline in key market indicators, with the all-share index closing at 36,299.82 basis points, and the market capitalization closing at 13.249 trillion naira. Topping a list of 34 percentage gainers today are Red Star Express PLC, PZ Cousins, UACN PLC, and Nascon Allied. On the flip side, Total Nigeria PLC, Kutix PLC, Oando PLC, and Guarantee Trust Bank led a chart of 16 losers. Meanwhile, the top traders today are United Bank for Africa, Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC, Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC, and Zenith Bank. In a total of 2,610 deals, 114.037 shares worth 730.084 million naira was traded. That's the latest in business on News Now. We'll be right back after this break.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
Oh, correct, Oga. What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they come out the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this so. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They go come out the original parts, sell them, make plenty kusa.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku, look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before we do am, front jump. One, front jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
You're welcome back. And now to news on the international scene. Congo's President Joseph Kabila will not stand in December's presidential election. His spokesman announced this on Wednesday, adding that former Interior Minister Emmanuel Shadari would be the ruling coalition's candidate. The announcement by spokesman Lambert Mende at a news conference puts an end to years of speculation about whether Kabila would defy term limits to run for a third term. Kabila was due to step down in 2016 at the end of his constitutional mandate, but the election to replace him was repeatedly delayed. That sparked protests in which the military and police killed dozens of people. Militia violence also rose in the country's volatile eastern borderlands. In Zimbabwe, former finance minister and opposition politician Tendai Biti has been detained by police as he tried to cross the border and seek asylum in neighboring Zambia. His lawyer alleged this on Wednesday, a day after authorities said they were looking for Biti in connection with violence following last week's disputed election in which President Emmerson Mnangagwa was declared winner. 6 people were killed after the military intervened to curb protests in the capital, Harare. Meanwhile, President Emmerson Mnangagwa would be sworn in on Sunday. In Australia, the country's most populous state is now 100% in drought following the most intense dry spell in more than 50 years. New South Wales officials released figures on Wednesday showing that every part of the state is affected, with almost 1/4 classified as being in intense drought. Less than 10 millimeters of rainfall has been recorded in the 800,000 square meter state over the past month. There isn't a person in the state that isn't hoping to see some rain or our farmers and the regional communities. Nye Blair, the Minister of Primary Industry, said in a statement. Now, dry conditions are expected to continue for the next 3 months. In sports, Nigeria's coach Gernot Rohr has hinted that Bordeaux's new recruit Samuel Kalu might be handed a call-up ahead of their 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying schedules. Kalu, who is yet to represent the country at any level, swapped Yent for the former League One champions in a 5-year deal after dazzling displays since joining the Glelamco Arena outfit from AS Trenčín in January 2016. Raw revealed the reason he overlooked Kalu in the past was due to having a better option in his former Yent teammate Moses Simon, who also had Levante swoop for his signature. However, with Kalu's high-profile move to France, the Super Eagles boss says he will now consider having him in his plans. In other transfer news, Athletic Bilbao have announced Kepa Arrizabalaga's £71 million buyout clause has been met, bringing his move to Chelsea to a step closer. In a statement on their website, Athletic confirmed Arrizabalaga's release clause had been activated and his contract terminated, although there was no mention of Chelsea. The 23-year-old is now expected to travel to London to undergo a medical and discuss personal terms. Kenya's former 400 meters hurdle world champion Nicholas Bett has died at the age of 28 following a car crash on Wednesday. Bett had just returned from the Africa Championship in Nigeria when he died in Nandi, northwest Kenya. In 2015, he made history in China by becoming the first Kenyan to win a world gold at a distance shorter than 800 meters. Well, that's it on News Now. You can watch some of our other programs on our website at www.tv360nigeria.com or download our app on Play Store, and it is TV360 Nigeria. Watch us on Facebook at facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TV360 Nigeria. We are also live on YouTube at youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria, and we are also on Google+, and our handle is TV360 Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching. I am Esther Vesi.